So you found the raw vegan food diet, or it found you. And now it's just like a love story. Everything is going great. And you're very optimistic about what the future holds. But the thought creeps in. Lots of thoughts, actually. And you start to doubt. Is this diet really sufficient? Is it going to sustain me moving forward? And this is exactly what I would like to talk about in this video. So stay tuned. Thank you for joining me. This is Raw Vegan Food Diet, and this topic today is very important because this one will actually take you all the way out, maybe even all the way backwards if you don't get a really good answer to this question. And that is the raw vegan diet dangerous? If this is your first time here, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And if you find this video helpful, please share. I would like to discuss this dangerous accusation about the raw vegan diet not being, one, sustainable, maybe dangerous also because you're not getting, it's alleged that you're not getting the amount of nutrients that you need to get. And generally, it's the first one is usually the worst. It's because some people can eat raw fruits and vegetables maybe for a sustained period, maybe 3-4 days, or maybe a 30-day juice fast. But when you start to adopt it more, you try to adapt it into a lifestyle, that's when the thoughts of, am I degrading? Are my bones getting brittle? Or the mind just starts having a field day. And I want to kind of point out as to why, in particular, you're getting a lot of these thoughts. The way a lot of us were taught, and I'm speaking about the school system in the US in particular, we were taught a certain type of nutrition plate, and socially, we were taught a certain type of nutrition plate. And this nutrition plate is not just for the needs, but it also pulls on our emotions. Like through commercials and ads, it pulls on our emotions to attach our emotions to our food. So if these things are actually facts and do we actually need these things, that is the conversation that we're going to have. And it may be a continuous conversation. When it comes to the raw vegan diet, there are several ways to do it. There is more of a fruitarian way to do it, which is, I would say, probably 80 to 90% just raw fruits. And even with that, there is a subsection of the diet, which can be raw vegan keto. And that could be raw vegan keto fruitarian, like if you just ate avocados or fatty fruits, very low carb. And there are also other types of raw diets, which are liquidarian, which is mostly liquids, but all fruits and vegetables, maybe purees, maybe smoothies, or maybe just juices. That's out there. Also, this one goes back to solid food, but it may be a 1 meal a day, more of a OMAD or intermittent fasting type of deal, still raw vegan, all raw fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, sprouts, what have you. But it depends. But either way, I don't think either one of them would be dangerous if you didn't or wasn't already influenced by a different type of suggestion or paradigm that these types of foods are not enough to sustain you. Instead, we have probably been programmed or suggested to that you have to add meats into the mix, whether that's fish, chicken, dairy, meat byproducts, things like that. So because we have this thinking, it just pops back up into our mind to kind of police us on this new way of thinking that the raw vegan food diet is enough to sustain us. So it's really a battle royale between these two mindsets. It's not so much what's in the foods. I think you can find documentaries, you can find a lot of people these days that will corroborate that the raw vegan diet, or at least the plant-based vegan diet, is sustainable. So if anyone is feeling that it's not sustainable, I think at this point it's mental. So you can find the so-called facts with science and stuff like that. Just look it up, or just look at some vegan documentaries. There's one called Game Changers, I believe, and you can see some vegan athletes that have been doing amazing things, and even talks about in the past where there are a lot of, so history would tell you that there are some athletes in the past that actually did really, really amazing physical feats on a plant-based diet. If you're open to that, then you're still open to this so-called dangerous diet. But don't think for a second that if you were not socially suggested to and programmed, not just by advertising, but also the governmental pyramid, food pyramids of the 80s, 90s, 2000s. I don't know if it still exists. I think it does. Don't think that you don't have that like rogue feeling or thought that you are being undernourished if you are not adding animal products to your meal. So I think that's the whole truth of where that comes from. I think the last and the next thing would be doctors. Again, I believe that's mental as well, is because we've put them in, depending on what era you grow up in, we put them in this position like a pastor or a reverend for some people that are like trusted and trustworthy people, regardless of whatever evidence has been shown that they do not cure things. So the people that you trust, actually, doctors, nurses, not so much, but sometimes, and even people in your immediate family or your friends, television, advertising, the government. These are people that you may say, I respect their opinions, but to be on this raw vegan path, I think it is imperative that you be willing to walk alone, and you be willing to use your own intuition to actually determine if this diet is dangerous or not. I would say do not use these titles of these people for you to decide how you should run your health, and your optimal health at that. I would say this: ask yourself, when was the last thing that you remember a doctor curing? I'll wait. Okay. And when was the last time your family member that's telling you to stop eating meat, that you actually envy their health? Whether it's their body image, their sound of breathing when they're walking around, something physically that they're able to do, and you're like, wow, not during a fast. And you're like, man, I want to do that. You know what I mean? When was the actual last time that you envied it? And I don't even mean just physical appearance, because that's another thing that meat eaters will try to get you at. Like, look at me, I'm big and bulky. Hopefully you know by now that size doesn't matter in that sense as far as strength. I mean, I'm sure you've seen lots of people like scurry up a tree and do all types of things, and they were not like Arnold Schwarzenegger types. So at this point, this form of strength is just pure aesthetics. Again, you may be programmed on that realm as well. That is a big thing with men in particular, who've been programmed to believe that they need to look like He-Man, if you remember that from the 80s, or Superman. They think that that makes them strong, that physical appearance of big, bulky, puffy, pussy muscles. They don't have a different storyline. So for you to go up against that story that you have to be this masculine man or masculine or cut up woman or whatever the case is, you have to ask yourself, everything basically has to be on the table. Why do I feel like raw fruits and vegetables are dangerous? And then you'll have your answer. Once you find out why, more than likely you'll uncover a lot of storylines, and then you get to reassess. Maybe from your childhood, you'll get to reassess these storylines fresh in 2023, right now, whenever you're watching this video, and you'll be able to ask yourself, is this information the best way to go about optimal health going forward? And you get to decide for yourself, and you could just cut away all the BS and all of the yappity-yappities from everybody with titles that you used to hold over you as authority and as law. And then you'll start to challenge yourself to actually look beyond. And hopefully the looking beyond means you're looking within yourself, remembering you give the power. Now take your power back and focus. What do you think is the best way to go forward? Personally, I feel like the best diet is the raw vegan food diet. Now that's my opinion. But the only way I think someone should stop eating a raw vegan diet, if it's an absolute emergency, is, again, when you cannot align your mind with your heart. Why? Because it's going to be terror for you, and you think whatever you're experiencing physically, whether it's gas, to transition from another type of diet to a raw vegan diet, you think that's annoying or that's hell or, oh, I'm hungry or whatever the case is. But when your heart is telling you to do something, and a lot of you probably know this from experience, and you can't get your mind on board, it's hell for you, So the best thing I would say to do is work on your mind. Either work on silencing those voices from the past, or those authority figures from the past that's still hanging over you like a weird, loud-ass ghost that keeps feeling like it's throwing salt in the tank. Just silence yourself, meditate, go silent, and ask yourself, what is the best diet for me to live my highest good? And see what pops up on a screen of your mind. And or just continue to affirm exactly what you want it to be. Now, to your mind, it will probably make no good darn sense for you to say, oh, I'm raw vegan and I'm living a great life. And then there's part of the back of your mind that's like, well, we did have that backache yesterday, maybe let's go get some bone broth or something. And that's when you have to recognize this is the voice. I'm just going to push forward, go past it, ignore it, or just let it yap and go back to center. This is a new self that you're building. And you have to give yourself patience. You have to give yourself all the love and reinforcement in the world. If it's something that, and this goes back to your why, if your why is extremely strong on why you deserve optimal health, you have to put those demons in their place, and it's up to you. And thank you for watching this video. I hope this video helps, and I'll have another important, great, maybe controversial health video coming back at you very soon. See you again. If you're serious about the raw vegan food diet, please check the links in the description.